Okay, we're going live. Hello, everyone. My name is Jaquise Moore. I am the host of Learning with Jasmine. I just wanted to let you guys know I am not a doctor. Okay, I'm not a doctor. I'm not in the medical field. So that is why I am asking professionals who expertise in whatever we're talking about. Okay. I'm a mom. My daughter has autism, and we are just learning this together. I realized when my daughter had diagnosed with autism, then I'm like, I am clueless. So this is the page where you might be on the same boat. Like, you just found out that your daughter has autism, and what do I need to know? Well, here is it. I'm going through different segments of professionals who know it all. Well, know it all, right? But let me tell you before they introduce. I mean, this is the very first time we have had two professionals online together. So I have been doing this for over, I would say 4 months. And I saw this company who liked my posts, and I was super excited, following me, everything. And I was like, okay, well, let me find out who they are. And so I have contacted the program, and they're going to introduce themselves. There are two of how many, I don't know, counselors there. And so we are going to listen, and we're going to take note of what they're saying. And then later on, they're going to promote their business. Okay. So Vanessa, would you like to start?
Yeah, I'd love to. Thanks so much for having us on. What you do for helping parents who maybe are unsure about what's next when their child gets identified as maybe having a delay or a diagnosis, and they're all unsure and nervous and need help and direction. So the things that you're experiencing, we've heard a lot of parents talk about that and experience that. Where do I go next kind of thoughts. To introduce myself, my name is Vanessa Spiron. I am the Business Development Director for TelePlay Therapy. I'm not a counselor myself. I'm not a therapeutic professional, but I'm very familiar with our program and all the aspects to it and how we help families. I have the pleasure of working with many different wonderful therapeutic professionals who have a real passion for helping children in whatever their needs are. Mm-hmm. So just real quick, and then I'll let one of them introduce themselves. At TelePlay Therapy, we're a virtual therapeutic company. So all of our sessions are done online in a very fun and engaging platform. So it's a lot of fun for the children involved. It keeps them engaged. But each fun activity has a very specific purpose for helping the children to develop and grow and reach those childhood milestones. We have a program called Developmental Coaching, which is a comprehensive program that works on all domains of child development. It can really focus on a child's needs. And then we have licensed programs that include speech therapy, occupational therapy, and child counseling. And then we also have a parental coaching component as well for those families who, for the parents who might want to get a little bit more assistance and learning how to direct and raise their children. We also have an acceleration program for children who are meeting milestones, but especially in today's world, maybe don't get that interaction with the child development experts that they would get in a childcare setting or in a educational setting or play groups and things like that. So we help them to, again, continue where they're at on the developmental milestones, but then also excel as well. And our programs start at 3. So typically we do 3 to 10, but some of our licensed programs will go a little older than that as well. So I did a lot of introducing myself in the program. So I'll let Beth introduce herself now.
All right. Thank you again for having us join you today. And my name is Beth. I am a developmental coach with TelePlay Therapy. And I have about 20 years give or take a few months, serving families and children. And it's so great to hear your story and how you have come to this place and reaching out and just sharing just real life, because I have been there too. I am a mom of three, which you can see here behind me. And
Yes.
I remember when my daughter was diagnosed, and it's like, I've studied this, I've researched, I work with children, but
It's
what
not the same
so
when it comes to your daughter. It is not the same when it comes to your child. Oh my goodness. Yes.
very much. So, it's great to be a part of this team and
Yes.
community, to be able to support and guide and share experiences. So,
Yes.
that's
Yes, again, thank you all for coming. Again, you guys, follow our Learning with Jasmine, share the link, when it's finished, when we finish posting it, definitely contact family and friends who may need the support. Okay, so we're gonna get started. What stressors children might have that blocks their ability to develop? And were we born with stressors or get them later? Because I know a lot of times we talk about stressors. We as adults have stress, but we don't realize that children have stress too. It might be different, but they're, they grow up. The children grow up and they develop. It might not be finances, but it could be school. So how do we, especially in this world right now, we're doing everything virtually. We're doing, school will not open up, so I know parents might be stressed, but children might be stressed too. So how can we get some answers for that?
Yes, I would say that children definitely are stressed. The scary part is they may not even realize that that's what it is. We as adults, we have experiences and just life experiences, and it's hard for us to be able to understand and identify emotions and create solutions. But think about these young children who, for so many of them, it's the first time they've ever experienced certain emotions, so they don't even know what it is. They don't know how to identify, and definitely don't know how to react. So in a I guess average or normal, typical, do we even use those words anymore? I don't know. We all have stressors, but in the times that we're living in today, it's just monumental. And my oldest daughter, 12 years old, she was talking to me the night before last, and I had to be honest with her and explain, I have never experienced anything like this. We just have to try to remain positive. But I think having children talk about what they feel, even if they don't know, like, I feel isolated and lonely. I didn't realize I was a social person. That's what my daughter says.
Wow.
And so yes, definitely many stressors for children. There are stressors, and so do you have something?
A lot of times the stress that the parent feels is a stressor to the child as well. So even though they may not understand financial stress, everything that we do express affects them as well. So not to plug in our program yet again, but the developmental coaching program has the component where we work with the parent and the child as well, so that they can understand both components of that. And to your other question is our stressors things that affect us? Are we born with them, or do we acquire them? Well, today's society and the things going on in our world definitely says we can acquire them. That's a given, right? We're all in that boat, and like Beth said, experiencing new things that we never thought we would experience. And our children are experiencing them too. And then there are our children and people who are born with things that increase their stress or increase the things that they have to deal with, like your daughter. I mean, her diagnosis and the things going on in her brain and her body add stress to her that another child may not have.
Right. And I wanted to piggyback on you too. Like I said, I have a bachelor's in psychology, so I learned about nature versus nurture, you
Right.
know, that type of thing. And you know, for children who may like autism, okay, this is all this panel is not just for autistic children, okay? So for those who are listening, this is not just for, we're not, you know, just only talking about autism, but on my end, I can say that not only we have the stress of the parents who trickle down to the children, but let's say like for my child who has a speech delay. So the, you know, I'm frustrated, mommy. So in order for me to express my emotions, I have to act out, you know, or things like that. So it's, you know, it's interesting how you guys have said that it trickles down from parents to children, because this is how it started. Learning with Jasmine started because I was stressed, and
That's awesome.
I was stressed, and to the point that I have a counselor. I still, to this day, I still have a counselor, because I'm like, okay, I have to do this, I have to do that, and now I have my child who's now home, and my job was my outlet.
Yeah.
Because it was so much stress at home, because I didn't know how to communicate with my daughter, you know, in a different way. It's totally different. You know, I could just say to other children this and that, and they would do it. But the processing for her was different.
And
So
then
it
the
was
stress
causing,
of just, I can't mess this up. You know, I
right.
have to do this right and right
Yeah,
now.
you're perfect, because I don't know what else to do. If I mess it up, I don't know how to express it to mommy, then I'm stressed. And she's like, I don't know what you're saying, baby. Oh, you know, type of thing. So yeah, we definitely have to understand that parents, we have a significant role in the household. You know, husband, wife. It could be a one parent home. It could be, you know, whatever it is. But we have to realize that our stress, it may not be the way, you know, finances or whatever, but we 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 give our children, it's something that I'm gonna have to bite when I heard it before, but we give our children sometimes the stress.
We do. And it reminds me a lot of Bronson Bruner's ecological systems theory. And when I teach classes to educators, I like to use the visual of the gear toys that children play with, where you have a circle with the teeth and they interconnect, and you turn a gear over here and all these other gears turn. You know, just a manipulation of one part of the child's family does not stay confined to that area. All parts of the system are affected. And that's a good kind of visual when you're trying to think about how does stress in one part of the child's life, whether it be parent or the parent's job. You know, the child may never even know what the parent's work is or
Right.
situation, but it still does impact that.
Right.
That's a great point.
That's a really good point. Okay, we're gonna move on. What does stress look like in a child?
So that's a very good question. Stress can take many forms, I think, with children. Sometimes it may just be quiet and withdrawn because they don't know what's going on. A lot of times we'll see children begin to act out or even revert to, especially in young children, they will regress to previous things that maybe they were able to acquire or complete, such as maybe toilet training or toilet learning. They may have been completely potty trained, and then all of a sudden we're having accidents every time you turn around. You know, that can be a result of some type of stress, that regression of previous learned behaviors. And so it's not easily identifiable all the time. And I know this month you're talking about social emotional development, and I think that's one area of development it's very hard to, there's no clear cut,
It's not identified.
Yes,
Exactly.
identify, like, are we where we're supposed to be? So I don't want to get off of the question too bad, but it's not always easily identifiable. So just really through observations and paying close attention to where we are today and what does this look different, the behaviors, the emotions, the expressions. Is the child all of a sudden just not talking anymore? Are they not eating? You know.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So,
Yes. Okay. That's something to really talk about. And of course, you guys, parents, look at the different behaviors and then definitely talk to your child's pediatrician. Definitely. And maybe have those services, more resources around your area. That's definitely a definitely a must. Okay. Your program focuses on dealing with social interaction to increase fine motor skills and more. What does that look like in a therapy session?
Vanessa, I don't mean to keep jumping in. Do you have something you want to share? I'm just so excited to be here.
Yeah, no, y'all are doing great. In fact, I'm taking it all in myself. But you're absolutely right. So we look at the total, all the domains of child development when we work with them. And Beth can talk specifically about what a session may look like. But we're looking at if a child's having problems with fine or gross motor skills or social emotional or speech and language or behaviors or just, dealing with the stressors like we're talking about, our programs can help children and their parents interact or learn how to, what I like to call, level the playing field. So if we have our developmental milestones here on my imaginary line, there are things that may keep a child from reaching those developmental milestones, whether they are external stressors or internal things. They keep a child below that. And so our programs are designed to help a child get to that typical developmental milestone line as best we can, with all those things that you're talking about, with all the different domain factors. And Beth can tell you a little bit more what that looks like within a session.
So within the session, everything is completely virtual. I have a basket down here. I won't pull out all my interactive pieces, but I have cards, puppets, books, things that we share. I encourage children, parents to maybe if we're working with speech, bring. It just depends on the goal that we're working towards, but it's very interactive and it's developmental play therapy. So it's a lot of fun. The children oftentimes don't even realize that, we're working towards a goal. Right. So for example, just being very intentional about the games that we play with children. I think when we think about even just in education, what being intentional about the activities that we present with children. And I think about, for example, very young children, even infants and toddlers. We are all familiar with the peekaboo game, right? Yeah, we're all familiar with that. But why do we do that? Here through TelePlay Therapy, we think about why are we doing certain things with children. So for example, just a simple game of peekaboo, we do, that would just lead to object permanence for children who have separation anxiety. They realize through a simple game, an infant, as early as one can realize that even though I'm not here, but yes, I really am, that's teaching them object permanence. Now, of course, we don't get into that with them, but just through these interactions, they're learning skills that will help them to reach those developmental milestones.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. That brings me back to the education field.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say one more example that I like to share about what services may look like. I really like when we talk about emotions with the children. So whether that's through some of the apps that we have, or I've even seen Beth read an emotions book to children. But a lot of times they're not able to identify their emotions. So that's the baseline, is helping them understand what their emotions are and how they feel. How that particular emotion feels, whether that's happy, sad, frustrated. And I'll give you my personal story. I actually had, Beth was working with one of my children, and we were going through the emotions, and he could identify all of the negative faces and emotions, but when it came to the happy emotions, he couldn't identify them. And I was like, wow, that really shows. Well, I attribute it to the gap in my parenting, because he was younger. You know, it's not his fault necessarily that he couldn't identify the emotions. But the children have to be able to identify emotions in themselves and others before they can learn to cope with the emotions.
Wow, that's deep. That that's definitely deep. Oh, yes. I know for myself, I have a chart for Jasmine, and I ask her throughout the day, you know, how do you feel? You know, I definitely, like, if we say let's do math, and she's like, no, mommy, no, not right now. Okay, well then what do you would like to do? You know, so kind of, because I can tell by your response, this is what I'm thinking. You know, I can tell by your response that it might have an out, you know, a behavior that's coming out if I don't stop the math right now, you know.
Right.
So definitely asking your children, you know, how do you feel today? And then say why. Ask them why, you know, and then say happy. Well, why are you happy? You know, type of thing. So they can identify the emotions. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the last thing, because I know, Beth, you have to run to a client. What can parents do to help support children who are stressed? And what resources or strategies do you recommend?
Okay, to begin with supporting, I think that oftentimes, like you said at the beginning of this segment, is we don't even think children can have stress. I was in a group last night, and the leader asked, how many of you are stressed? And it was children, I think, as young as 3 or 4 on up to elderly people. And I mean, just the mix of hands. So just really understanding as adults that children definitely experience stress. And so having that mind frame or that mindset, and then asking children questions, you know, how do you feel today? That's excellent. I mean, how do you feel? And through those conversations, just talking with them, you will learn, and that will lead to more questions and answers, and really getting that, just the ability to voice feelings, which oftentimes are associated with some type of stress, or whether it's good stress or bad stress.
Right.
So I think that's probably the number one way parents can support their children. And there are situations where they may need to get some parental support too, if things are really deep and involving with children. And what was the second part of that question?
So the second part is, what resources or strategies do you recommend?
Okay. So resources and strategies, you touched a bit on one. I absolutely love the idea of giving children choices. I mean, that's amazing. And another strategy that oftentimes are like, children don't need choices. Yes, they do. They're human. As humans, we like choices. If I tell you, you go do this, yeah, right? So, I mean, children are the same way. So I think giving those choices, do not divert from, we're going to learn something today. Would you rather learn math or spelling first? Which would you like? You know, I think that would wind up a much better outcome. Just because, and it helps them to feel empowered. You know, I chose to do this way.
Right.
So I think that's a great strategy. Vanessa, do you have anything that you want to add in there? There's so many ways that we can help. I think another great strategy I like to use is through books and reading. There's great books out there about different stressors. I know a very difficult conversation to have is about death and dying. And it's something that we as adults have trouble with. And
Okay,
so
so are the books for kid related, like kid friendly? Okay,
yeah.
so I'm gonna stop you right there. I'm gonna put a little commercial break on there. So after we are finished, and I know after you have to run and come back, but I will tag you guys. If you can post on the comments of resources that could be out there for available for parents, that would be awesome. So unless Vanessa and Vanessa, you can stay on a little bit and talk a little bit more about the program. But definitely, I want actually want a part 2 of this. If you guys want to do a part 2 date, let us know. Maybe at the end of August, I don't know. But definitely, I want to have a part 2 to kind of really dive into the stress, because I think this is just a general conversation, but definitely dive into the stress. If that's okay with you, we can talk over, offline.
I think that was great. And the other thing, real quick, is that at the end of August, or beginning of September, school will have started, and this whole new set of stressors will have started.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying.
Don't even realize what it is.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, universities and elementary or whatever. So definitely, I want to dive into a little part 2 of this. That was a teaser.
That's a teaser.
You guys, an hour. So definitely want to dive into part 2. But thank you, Beth, for joining us. I know you have to run. We will talk later on. Yes.
Very good. Thank you so much. It was great to meet you and everyone else out there. Have a great week.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay. So Vanessa, definitely want to dive into your anything else you want to talk about, and then you can talk about your business.
Yeah. So we Beth is she's great. She's a development coach in our program. It's so funny to see her in this capacity, because she's very professional and her expertise truly comes out. And when you see her in a coaching session with children, she is right at the kids level and using her professionalism to interact with the kids. And so it's really great to see those components play out within the sessions. But I will just wrap up with a little bit more about TelePlay Therapy. It's a great program. It's virtual, which I know scares some people off, but I know that at this point, a lot of people are getting used to virtual. Some of the benefits of that are you don't have to run all over town trying to keep up with several different appointments, because you can just log onto your computer screen.
Right. I'm gonna pull it up actually, you guys. So you can still talk about it. I know I did a video with the program, so I'm actually gonna pull it up while you're talking. Okay.
That you mean?
Yes. Okay. There you go.
Okay. Awesome. So yeah, that's our website. Join our mailing list. We have a lot of wonderful tips and pieces of information that we send out. Within our mailing list, we have our monthly newsletter we send out, variety of, let's see, what else is there? A whole parent resources page that variety of things on there. And one of the cool things in our parent resources section is we have developmental quizzes that we've developed, so that if your child's 4 and you want to see if they're on track, there's specific questions you answer yes or no to, just to kind of see, again, like you said earlier, Jaquise, it's not, I wouldn't say it's a formal standardized quiz and evaluation. It's just a guideline to kind of get you, help you understand whether your child may be on the right track or not, or if you feel like your child may need some services. Our developmental coaching program, in all of our programs, you do not have to have a diagnosis. Your child doesn't have to be have an IEP with school or anything like that. This is just something that you can sign up for to help your child to keep the developmental track, and then help them excel in it as well. We do work with children that do have diagnosis and delays and IEPs and things like that as well. So we can help a variety of children. And right now we do have a summer special that we are will be going on through the end of this month, which offers some great pricing for parents. But we also have a school year discounted program We realize that the school year is going to look different for so many this year.
Right.
And for those who maybe were in a traditional school and had services within the school, you may want to consider looking at our program. We do offer free demos for anyone who's interested. So just give us, you can call us or email us and see, set up a demo and see the program. But our school year discount, if you sign up for the 9-month program, you get 25% off of the packages. So it's a really good deal for people who know that they're going to need something long-term for the school year. And
where are you located originally, like the program itself?
Well, actually, it's a variety of places around. There are people across the nation. I myself am in North Carolina. So we just had the fun hurricane pass over us last night.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, mine too.
Is it sunny where you are?
Yes, it's probably going throughout everyone, right? So, but yeah, definitely, I definitely thank you. And there's a contact information through TelePlay Therapy. Yeah, so you guys, I'm just gonna keep this up and definitely go into teleplaytherapy.com if you are interested. Again, thank you, Vanessa, and thank you, Beth, for this opportunity. This is part 1, you guys. I definitely want part 2.
Yes, thank you so much for having us. This has been great.
Yes. Okay, so again, you guys, until next time, and August is social emotional. This is just a little snippet of what's happening. Next week, I believe next Tuesday, or it might be sooner, because I'm real flexible with this lady. This person is actually my mommy. You guys, my mommy going to be coming on, and she is a counselor, a school counselor. So she's going to be talking about the school's counseling system, when it comes down to social emotional, which, and then I have actually a blood cousin who's going to be talking about journaling. It's, when kids have emotions, like adults, we have emotions, right? And so sometimes journaling is really a good tool to use. And she's going to be talking about her business. Okay, so again, until next time, you guys, have a safe, because the hurricane and everything, have a safe, enjoyable week. And until next time, you guys, I see you guys on Learning with Jasmine. I'm going to talk to you, Vanessa, on offline. Okay. So, okay. Thank you so much, you guys. Bye-bye.